Okay, so welcome back to the Here We Go Again podcast. We've got another very special guest today. 14 years he spent at Bolton. Ricardo Gardner, how are you?
Great, I'm great. Happy to be here.
So just to get things going, are we calling you Bibi? Is that what we're calling you today, or Ricardo? What would you prefer?
Anything that you're comfortable with, I'm good.
So
both names are mine, so.
Where does the nickname come from?
Well, I was the youngest of 7 siblings, 5 brothers and 2 sisters. So it's really baby the little shortening of baby. That's where the name came from, and I got it from one of my brothers, who I'm very close with.
So obviously you started your career with Harbourview. You played in the youth teams and then moved into the first team. How did you find your time at the club?
It was great. My time coming up at the club was great. It's a community where I came from, so I spent most of my life before I spent almost all my life before I came to England in that community, and I grew up playing football in the community along with my friends and my older brothers since I was young. So the people from the community known me throughout all my life. So it was a great time there before I get to Bolton. I came through the under 14 level, went on to under 16, but actually I went straight into the senior team after that. My brother was playing before he got injured, and I went and I went inside the field for him, and the rest was history.
It's an interesting story. The Jamaican Premier League, I mean, it's probably got the best sponsor I've ever heard, the Red Stripe Premier League. What was it like playing in the Jamaican Premier League? What was it like at that time?
I imagine it was a lot of raw ability, baby.
Yeah. We have so many talents here. It's unbelievable. Even before our time, some unbelievable talents who never get the opportunity that we receive. You know what I mean? It's natural talent, but in terms of the levels between the game, it's a massive difference. We have less infrastructures. Is not there as we would love it to be. So it's very hard, but it produces some great talent that I was able to see over the years, and even before my time, before it was even called the Red Stripe Premier League.
So obviously, for sort of young Jamaicans growing up, you've got football, obviously athletics as well. I mean, in the Caribbean, there's cricket as well. What made you choose football?
Well, football meant so much to me. I used to do track and field at school as well, but football means the world for me. It's the first sport I know growing up, and I grew up watching games of my older brother and going to games of my older brother. So it just fall right into my shoes, to be honest with you, and that's the reason why I chose that road, because it's the only thing that could take me away from every other thing. You know what I mean? Only football could take me away from every other thing. So that's the reason why I chose this sport.
Now, last year, there was a video that went round and you were in it, and Usain Bolt was in it as well. Obviously, speaking of sprinting, he's the world's best. Is he someone that you know well?
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. He's someone that I see and speak to on a weekly basis whenever he's here. We're about 5 minutes apart from each other, or maybe less. So he's a good friend of mine. Great person.
Can you play a bit, baby?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that question. Yeah.
Sorry. What's that?
Can he play? Because I mean, there was talk of it. He ended up playing in Australia a little bit. There was talk of him going to maybe try and play for Man United. Can he play football?
Well, I'm sure you have seen him in a few charity games. I think for someone who who doesn't grow up playing football. He's pretty decent. I'm just imagining him getting the professional training and growing up at that level, how good he could be. You know what I mean? But he's pretty decent for someone who didn't grow up playing football and been doing track and field all his life, to be honest with you. Good finisher as well, I must say, because I play a couple of games with him here locally in our spare time.
I was going to say, at the very least, it'd be pretty hard to catch.
I know, right? With that speed of his.
So the 1998 World Cup in France, Bibi. Obviously, you represented Jamaica. You were the youngest player in the squad at 19. How much did you enjoy the experience of playing at a World Cup with your country?
It's one of the greatest experiences throughout my entire career. I mean, being in the best tournament that you love so much with some of the best players around in the world. I mean, a lot of great players have passed and didn't get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. So I must say, playing in a World Cup it's a great experience that I've enjoyed, and it's an experience that gave me my opportunity outside of Jamaica as well. So it was a great experience for me, man.
A lot of more older and experienced Jamaican players in that squad. Were there perhaps one or two that you could pick out that you looked up to?
Yeah, there are a few. And maybe I could, if I could name the whole entire squad, I think everybody really played a part. But there were a few that I was really close with, like Ian Goodison who went to Tranmere Rovers and Hull City also. He's a good friend of mine. He's one of the players I looked up to. You had Peter Cargill, one of our stalwart midfielders. You have the likes of Theodore Whitmore. You have Altiman Butler, and we could go on and on and on. and of course, we have some special ones who came across from England also that I have admire. When they took that opportunity to come and represent our country. The likes of Paul and Bermuir, Michael Johnson, Robbie Earl, Marcus Gill, everyone, to be honest with you.
You managed to play.
I know. Could I forget Jamie Lawrence? Or could I forget Jamie Lawrence, who I think came over and did an excellent job also, and Mick Hyde also. There was a lot of talents that was from England who came over and played their part as well.
Yeah, like you say there, it's pretty much the whole team that you've named there, isn't it? That you looked up to. A lot of experience. You played in all three matches in the group in the tournament at France '98. You managed to play against Croatia and Argentina as well, a very strong group. How did you find playing against the likes of Robert Prozinecki, Davor Shuka, Gabriel Batistuta, players like that at such a young age?
It's great, because the only place we could see them is on the television, and to be rubbing shoulders with these big names and these big guys. And when I was growing up in Jamaica, outside of Jamaica, I would support Argentina and England. You know what I mean? So supporting Argentina and being getting that opportunity to play against some of the greatest players who I've watched on the television and who is playing for Argentina, and a team that grow supporting because of Diego Maradona, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And getting the opportunity to be up against them now, it's just an unbelievable feeling. Sometimes when you think about it, you get that adrenaline rush running through you again.
You mentioned Ian Goodison. He's number one on the list of all-time appearance makers for Jamaica, but you're fourth on the list. That must be a very proud achievement for you.
Yeah, it's a great achievement. I mean, to be getting one game you were playing for your country, hearing that national anthem, and to be going on and playing as many games as I have played, it's a great accomplishment, and it's something that I appreciate and honor with everything that I have.
And then obviously after the tournament, you signed for Bolton. The club paid, I believe, £1 million to Harbour View. Was it a big deal for a Jamaican team to sell a player for that much money, a young player for that much money at that time?
Yeah, it was massive. It's something that hasn't been done before. That haven't been done before. It was for the first time, and as I mentioned earlier, there's so much talents that came to Jamaica that didn't even get that opportunity. So for this to be such an opportunity for a youngster like myself, it was a massive deal here in Jamaica.
How did it come around, Bibby? Exactly. Was it someone that your agent maybe knew, or was it just that you shone so brightly at the tournament?
My to be honest, it's what I did out there on the pitch. I'm sure if you don't go out there and represent yourself well, then there won't be no one coming being interested in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But someone was representing me. I had my agent who was from England, Phil Graham. He was my agent. He had mentioned to us that this is a big tournament and it's a big opportunity for us to play within Europe or get a contract outside of Jamaica, and we have to just go there and represent ourselves to the best of our ability. And that was just all that was in the back of my head. This is our chance. This is my chance. This is my opportunity, and I'm going to grab it with both hands.
You certainly took it.
Yeah.
Maybe, do you remember having a conversation with Colin Todd before you signed for the club?
No, not before I signed for the club, but I remember the conversations that my agent and Colin Todd been having, who I think was a great and fantastic manager, and who I think was a great, who I think manager and have played a massive part in why I'm today.
A lot of Jamaicans have had successful playing careers here in England. Was that always an ambition of yours too, to come to England and see how you get on?
I mean, to be honest with you, not until Rene Simons came to Jamaica, I think that was possible. Before that, I think most of us here just was thinking about getting to the American League.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no Jamaican before me getting this type of opportunity. So our mind was so far away until Rene Simons came to Jamaica, who was of course the coach that took us to the World Cup. He started letting us know how important and how much football can change the life of footballers here in Jamaica, because he came and he saw so much talent, and we really buy into everything that he said. You know what I mean? And it wasn't before him coming to Jamaica and we start seeing a little light through the tunnel that we think we can get the opportunity to even qualify for the World Cup and even think about playing overseas. So it's not something that I grew up thinking but until Rene Simons come to Jamaica. But after that, that was always our dream, to try and get a contract overseas.
What were your early impressions of Bolton Wanderers when you first came to England?
For me, it's my first time. It's my first time coming out of my community, going into a different environment, and I think the experience for me, leaving from here, it's unbelievable. I've met some great people over my life from the first day I walked into that club, without knowing anything about that football club or that town. I know nothing about England and other from London. You know what I mean? And coming into that town from my carer who came to pick me up at the airport, Alan Whittle. I will never forget that guy. I think he has done unbelievable work for Bolton Wanderers Football Club, and who I think also have a wonderful family. And he was the one who helped me to settle from the first day that I came in. And before, even during my time there, Susan Whittle, who is the daughter of Alan Whittle, also played a massive part.
That's fantastic.
So outside of Jamaica, it's so away from home for me, and it's my extended family.
That's brilliant. That's lovely to hear. Obviously, you've travelled from the other side of the world to sign for Bolton. Did it take you a long time to settle. And how did you find the English lifestyle in comparison to what you used to back in Jamaica?
It's different. It's different. It's total different environment. It's something that you're not used to. So just imagine leaving England at the age of 18, going into Spain, somewhere that you haven't been before. You know what I mean? And the moment that you're reaching how much part the people part of the club play settle. And once I was settled, then you could get the best out of me, and you could give the best of yourself in every training. From the first day, from the moment that I came in, the players, the staff, it was like a family from day one. So as I went in, they helped me to get settled, and I ended the debut.
Yeah, me and Mikey, we got told a story by I forgot who it was at work, but basically it was sort of, they were recalling memories of your early days at the club, and they said that your mother used to come watch you at the game, and she used to bring like Jamaican food with her, and apparently it's like some of the nicest food they've ever had. Is that would that be the case?
Yeah, that was the case. I mean, coming back from home, she could only spend 6 months in the country, and then she would fly back home and maybe spend a month and then come back over. But because she was always by my side in the early days, so that's how she would spend her time. And whenever she comes over, she'll be my cook, which I think is one of the best cook in the world. You know what I mean? That tastes the Jamaican food.
Brilliant. How did you find Bolton when you first came over? Did it take you a while to settle in Bolton, or did you settle quickly?
To be honest with you, I think the players and the staff, as I mentioned before, the staff at the football club, and the town itself, because I think the town itself is a friendly town. I think that all the communities and the people from the community they helped me to settle a little bit quicker than I thought.
So your first league game, obviously you played in the cup game first. You scored the winner in your first league game, which was a 3-2 win at West Brom. What memories do you have of that game? I know it's a long time ago now, but do you have still good memories of that game?
Yeah, I still have good memories of that game. I came off the bench in that game. I don't remember quite how long of the time that playing time that I received, but I remember coming off the bench and scoring the winner with my right foot, I think, at the moment.
Wow. And
I was wearing a yellow boots, like, if I can remember clearly, a yellow Puma.
Yeah, that first season, the 98-99 season, you played 37 times. You're a regular in the team pretty early on, but was it a bit of a sad way to end the season, the fact that we lost in the playoff final to Watford at Wembley? Did that sort of put a little bit of a dampener on your first season in England?
Yeah. It did. And it was a pretty great game, to be honest with you, but it did. I think we had a great season that day. We played some unbelievable games, but in the same breath, I think that experience gave us a lot in us qualifying for the Premier League the next time out.
Yeah, a lot to learn from those games when you lose.
Yeah.
The following season, Sam Allardyce came in to replace Colin Todd. What did you make of Big Sam at first?
To be honest with you, from that first day that Big Sam came in, we know it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different personality. You know, it is that monstrous boss type of vibes, and it's you know that it's something that is going to be good as well coming from it. You know what I mean? Because his presence was unbelievable. Just like Colin Todd, but Colin Todd in a more quiet of a personality, and Sam is that one that you know that, yeah, if you don't do this, you know you are in deep trouble.
Yeah, that season, it was what are your memories of it? Because we came so near, but yet so far on all fronts, really. The semi-final of the playoffs, the semi-final of the FA Cup, the semi-final of the League Cup. What are your memories of that season?
It was a lot going on because we were in so much different cups. So there was a lot of games that we normally played. So I think that played a part also. But I think in terms of what we achieved that season, it was a good achievement. It was a good achievement, to be honest with you. And it was a great experience, even though we didn't get promoted at that time.
I know, obviously, you didn't spend a great amount of time under Colin Todd. I mean, the majority of your time at Bolton was under Sam Allardyce. What changes did Sam make? Did it feel like the team were getting closer to the Premier League? Did he make any big changes behind the scenes that you all noticed as players?
Yeah, he's a person that believes in a massive staff. He believes in the whole in the whole ice baths, the whole technology of things, which I think make a difference as it went along. Because if you go into where football is now, that Sam was the first one who showed us all these type of stuff. You know what I mean? So he believed in this big time, and I think it made a massive difference.
So it seemed like we were getting nearer to the promotion, and then the promotion came 2001. You scored in the semi-final, second leg against West Brom, and then you scored in the final as well against Preston. So you played a big part. Is that goal against Preston one of your favourite goals that you've scored for Bolton?
It's got to be up there.
Yeah. I think it's definitely up there. It's there, of course. It's up there at the back of my head. Even came come out of the back of my head. That goal is but the whole town of Bolton and the people who support Bolton way across the seas in Jamaica, you know what I mean, and in the Caribbean at that time, you know what I mean, and all over the world. So that goal is very, very special and one of my all-time favorites for Bolton.
You mentioned scoring that goal in the playoff final against Preston. Sort of after you signed for Bolton, obviously being a player for the national team, were there sort of Bolton fans popping up in Jamaica, people that were sort of wearing Gardner shirts back home?
Yeah. Trust me, the entire country
Yeah.
does, and even in the Caribbean, because they have their team in England that they support, but their team will always be Bolton, because I was always representing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm not only representing myself, but I'm also representing them back home.
The step up to the Premiership, Bibby, how did you find it? It must have been sort of an ambition fulfilled, playing in the top level in England.
Yeah, of course. I mean, playing in the lower tier of British football, that's always your goal, to reach to the Premiership level. And when that opportunity came, and we went and we played that season like we did, and we went in the playoff and carried over season into the playoff, and took our season over into the playoff, reaching to the Premier League now and achieving our goal was just unbelievable. And as I know, and as I will say proudly, it's one of the best league in the world, not only to watch but to be a part of and to be connected to.
Yeah, what's it like playing against those top players? Because there must be a gap from the Championship to the Premier League. The quality of player must be brilliant.
Yeah, of course, and you could see it in the first couple of seasons. We struggled, and that's always the job. That's always the goal first, to try and not be relegated. You know, stay above that relegation battle, and we overcome, and we did. And every game was like a finals. You know what I mean? Every training session was geared to that game, and every game was like it was a final to get to the Premier League, and we want to get to the Premier League so desperate. So no game was easy, and no game was taken lightly. Every game was prepared for like we are going out to play a final. So it was just awesome.
And then a couple more Jamaicans joined Bolton. Not long after that, Jermaine Johnson and Cleveland Taylor. Was it good to have a couple of fellow countrymen in the changing room at that point?
Yeah, of course, it's great. And to see that also was one of my goals. because the moment I received my contract to Cayman and play for Bolton Wanderers, one of my goals was that I've seen so much talent outside of Jamaica who wasn't get this opportunity before. So my job when I came over to England was that this doesn't continue. So I had to represent myself as great on the field as much as off the field, because if my reputation was bad off the field, I don't think it would have been a good example for others to get the opportunity that I have received also. It's a great blessing for me with Jeremy and Johnson coming to join us, and Cleveland Taylor, who was grew up in America, but Jeremy and Johnson, who came from a very tough area, a very tough background, and to get this opportunity was a great joy for me, and being there and experience this. It's a great joy for me, to be honest.
Those guys managed to stay in England and play, and obviously they weren't as successful at Bolton as you were, but they still had careers elsewhere, didn't they, in England? Still managed to do well. Jermaine Johnson, obviously Sheffield Wednesday for the majority of his career. Yeah,
of course, and I must respect them for this, because they could have go all the way back to Jamaica and didn't achieve this. And I think they went to various places and make a great mark also, and left a great mark in a positive way. So the legacy of Jamaica can still carry on.
Exactly. The 2002-03 season, Bibby, the Middlesbrough game, the last game of the season, where we managed to stay up by beating Middlesbrough. I think, was it Per Franson and JJ Kocher that scored the goals? What was that game like to play in?
Yeah, that game, that from the start to finish, the fans was unbelievable. Our enthusiasm was unbelievable. Our work rate and how we want to achieve this and stay up in the Premiership was just unbelievable. And the entire week was a week to remember. It's one that we work so hard and look forward to play that game and go out and give our best from the start to the end of the game, and rightly so that we did. You know what I mean? It's a wonderful game to be a part of, and to be honest with you, you have to be a part of that game to really know how much it means and how much joy you felt throughout those moments.
Before we push on to the next part of your time at Bolton, there's one game that I've picked out, and I've picked out because I think Mikey went to it, and it was Jamaica versus Brazil in 2003. Roberto Carlos scored the winner.
Yeah. So
what was it like to play in that game? I mean, Mikey, you can talk about this one if you want.
So, but backstory from me, Bibby, is I really wanted to go and see this Brazil team. I wanted to see just how good they were. My favourite player was Roberto Carlos, and I ended up going, and I couldn't believe the talent on show, not just from Brazil, but from Jamaica as well. I think Donovan Ricketts must have been in net that day, and he had a blinder.
Yeah, I agree with you. That game was a great game to be a part of, and with some of these stars who are unbelievable players. And I think that game was one of our best games in a Jamaica shirt. And to be playing against some of these great players, it always brings the best out of you. And that's what this type of game does. It give you that adrenaline rush to just want to go out there and you just want to play and have fun and just show the world how you love entertaining them. You know what I mean? Just playing football and just doing what we love. That game was unbelievable. It was a good game, a very great game to be a part of.
Oh, it's certainly great to be there because the Brazil
a lot
fans,
of people.
But the Brazil and Jamaica fans were mixing so well, and it was just like a party atmosphere wherever you went in the ground.
Yeah, because in Jamaica, it's like all Jamaican fans are Brazilian fans here in Jamaica, so that's why that was so easy to happen whenever we come together, because we love Brazil here in Jamaica. Yeah, I was maybe the odd one who was an Argentine fan growing up, and I find out that my good friend Hussein is an Argentine fan also growing up. So we were just the odd ones. Everybody else here is a Brazilian fan.
So
because they love that type of football.
Yeah.
Exactly. Looking at that Brazil team that day, baby, obviously the likes of Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Kaká, players like that. Would you say that one of those Brazilian guys are perhaps the best player that you've played against?
Yeah, of course. There are some. I played with a lot of good players, and these are some of the best players in the world. I was able to rub shoulders with them. These are great players that I admire, not only on the field, but how they function off the field. Also, they are really true professionals that you can take a lot from, and it's great. It's great experiences.
So back to Bolton, those 2 seasons back in the Premier League, we managed to just about stay up. But then the season after, I think we finished 8th. At what point did you sense that things were changing and you were going from being a struggling side to trying to push on and get into the top 8 of the league?
At the point where when I started to see Big Sam pull off some unbelievable deals for the football club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the type of players he was bringing in, then I start to see this change, you know? We are not only a small team anymore, but yeah, these players can come here also, you know what I mean? And they are enjoying Little Bolton Wanderers also. And these are top quality players, you know what I mean? So when Sam started to bring those type of players in, then you started to see the change. And even the things that he used to do after of the football field, as I mentioned before, is a massive fan of technology, and he brings all this to the football club, and he bring also bright sparks to the football clubs in terms of changing the facilities and those type of stuff when he came in. You know what I mean? He made a big massive difference, and when you see these little small things happening, it do make a big difference. You know what I mean? And that's what Sam came and he did.
Out of all these big players that Sam brought to the club, many players you can name: Campo, Joker, Fanelka, Okocha, Hierro. Which one impressed you the most, like on the day-to-day, on the training ground and on the pitch on a Saturday?
For me, it would be JJ. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable talent. I remember one day that I was messing about and I was doing this. I do the round the world and Nobby, Kevin Nolan, you know, who is a great friend of mine, a great guy who I've seen growing up through the club, and I've done so much for our football club and as a captain on and off the field. But we were playing this 5-a-side game, and I did around the world around Nobby, and JJ came to me after the training session and he said, "I'm gonna do this in the game on Sunday," you know. And then we went into the game on Sunday. I'm not sure if it was. I think it was against Arsenal. I think it was at the Reebok Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I saw him get that ball in the corner, right on the left corner, kicking down towards our store. Yeah. Kicking in that direction. I can remember clearly. He got the ball and he picked it up and he done it.
The rainbow flick.
You know, and the rainbow flick, and
I think it was
this
Ray
is against
Parlour.
top players. Yeah, this was against top players. You know what I mean? This guy is just unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And they said he's so good they have to name him twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that was how he was day in day out in the training. It's unbelievable.
To have the audacity to do that against, it's not even like you're playing a lower league team in the FA Cup and you're going to try a few things. You're playing against an Arsenal side at that time.
I know, right?
He's a magician.
He's a magician, trust me. I love this guy. And he's not only so good on the field, but he's so humble as a person and as a human being. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was unbelievable.
Lots of different characters, I'm sure, in the dressing room. Are there any memorable stories that perhaps people might not know about? Any funny stories? Were there any funny characters in the dressing room then? I'm sure there were.
Yeah, I think our dressing room was great. You know what Doofy is like. He always want to be that one up front. You know what I mean? So whenever he's in the dressing room, people have to know that Doofy's there, Elijah is here. You know what I mean? He was always the funny one in the dressing room and the one that who's always talking and making all the jokes. But we have some great characters there. From now, and how could I even do this interview and not mention how great of a captain Goodney Bergson was? Also, and even Mark Fish, that I can remember clearly. and also Dean's Oldsworth. And one of the players, to be honest with you, that helped me to settle in when I came over to Bolton was Nathan Blake. I can't forget this guy. Yeah, Nathan Blake. He helped me so much from day one, straight through his time there at Bolton. He helped me so much, and I could never do this interview without mentioning quality guy, and he helped me to settle very quick when I was there in Bolton.
Fantastic, that.
He did well, didn't he, as well, Nathan Blake, during his
great striker. I love playing with him. Quality player. And a great person as well. Always slick. Mr. Nice Guy.
One thing I've not asked any of the players that have come from overseas yet is there's a bit of I don't know whether it's the case anymore, but there's a bit of a Christmas party culture in English football at the clubs. How did you find them? Was that something that you had to get used to, going away on Christmas parties? And did certain players embrace it? Did certain players sort of stay away from them? How did that work?
Yes, it was a shocker for me, to be honest. It was a shocker for me because these players, my teammates is players who I really look up to, the way that how hard they work, you know what I mean? How hard they work and how hard they do during the week, and then going into the game and give everything that they have. And when it come on to this Christmas party, I would say, these are some different players, you know what I mean? Because I can't believe these are the same players who drink so much that whenever that is over. And when they go into work, it's just different. It was a different experience for me during those Christmas time whenever we have those type of parties, you know. I remember we flying to Dublin, and I was like, okay, looking forward to this, you know what I mean? And I get there, and you know that it's breakfast time, and I'm going down for breakfast. At the breakfast, people not thinking to have breakfast, they are thinking to have a glass of beer, you know what I mean? So this party was great. This experience was quite different, you know what I mean? And then to all they leave there and then go back to the training ground and work as if they never drank before. So these experience was just different.
So just picking up that fancy dress question again, baby.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, I remember those days quite well. I will always choose the ones that are neutral, like being a cowboy. You know what I mean? I would always choose those simple ones. But those parties were great memory, to be honest with you. Great fun times that help us to bond, to get off the pitch and just take over right into the pitch. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was great times.
Absolutely. Can you ever remember, before we move on to football, can you ever remember any sort of over the top efforts?
Over the top what?
In terms of the fancy dress, anyone just come with something ridiculous?
Not one that I can remember offhand right now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Back to the football, 2003-04 season, Bibby, and I've asked a few of the other guys about this. The Middlesbrough final, was it disappointing to come so close to lifting a major trophy and not managing to do it?
Yeah, of course, it was disappointment. I mean, losing in the finals is always going to be disappointment, but we must put apart apart from the finals, what we have done to reach to that finals was unbelievable, and I think was unbelievable achievement for each and every member for our squad. To be honest with you, we have done a great run to get to the finals, but it was very disappointing to lose to Middlesbrough in the finals. But I think they deserve to win. That's football for us. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
You played at left wing and left back for Bolton, Bibby. Which did you prefer?
This might be weird, but to be honest with you, I just want to be out there, man. I just want to be out there helping Bolton to achieve something from the game. You know what I mean? So just being out there, being able to play and give everything that I can give. You know what I mean? I just want to be out there, but left back is my most favorable in terms of, it's the one that I grew up playing. Growing up in Jamaica, that's where I played most of my life. So it's the one that's most natural. But I enjoy going up top and don't have to get all the way back either at times.
The 2004-5 season, baby, that was obviously, that saw us qualify for the UEFA Cup to play in Europe. That was a special season, wasn't it?
Yeah, that season was great season. I think it's our best to remember. You know what I mean? That season was unbelievable. We did some unbelievable runs. We did some unbelievable games. You know what I mean? And to finish up there where we're gonna be in the UEFA Cup the year after, it's just an unbelievable achievement and a season that we enjoyed being out there without have to be suffering, fighting for relegation. You know what I mean? Far away from that pack and trying to achieve something different. It was just massive and unbelievable for us.
Was there a certain game that season where a certain team that you beat, perhaps, and you as a group thought that, you know what, we are good enough to get into the top six of the Premier League? Was there a moment in the season?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't be just one game, to be honest. I mean, some games that we went out against the top clubs, you know what I mean, and the display that we went out there and did, and how unbelievable the fans were after and pleased after the game, and the victory that we receive after games. It was just unbelievable. It wasn't easy coming to the Reebok anymore. So Arsene Wenger wasn't happy flying all the way from London, facing us in the Reebok anymore. You know what I mean? It was a season where some of the big guns didn't enjoy coming to the Reebok. So that was a great season to remember.
And then obviously, as a result of the qualification, we played in UEFA Cup the next season. How did you find playing in Europe the first time round?
It's great. It's great playing in Europe. I've been traveling to the different countries, playing against some of the greatest players in the world as they represent in their own rights. You know what I mean? Going out there in different environments. You know what I mean? Not only representing Premier League and Bolton anymore, but the entire England. You know what I mean? People will be rooting for us because we are an English team. And we're playing outside of England, so they're going to be rooting for us just like how we root for them whenever they go outside and represent us. So that was a good and a great experience.
And then the next time we qualified for Europe, of course, you scored that famous goal against Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena.
How many years had you not scored for, baby? Was it 5 years?
Yeah, I think about 5 years. And that was a long run. I'm so happy to break that little spell. You know what I mean? So I couldn't even think of any celebration. I just went running crazy. You know what I mean? To be scoring against one of the biggest clubs in the world and in Europe. You know what I mean? And playing so well, because I think we played that game really well as a group and went out there and give everything that we have. And to be scoring that goal was just something different for me, especially breaking that spell. I haven't scored for so long. I mean, even though I wasn't that big goal scorer.
One thing I was going to ask you, Bibby, is, I mean, we've mentioned a couple of goals here now. We've mentioned Preston, we've mentioned Bayern Munich. Another one we'll mention is that free kick against Newcastle. What's your favourite goal that you score for Bolton? I mean, there's a few, isn't there? A few contenders.
Yeah, and that's up there. That's up there as well. You know what I mean? That's up there as well. I remember that free kick from the right hand side. Yeah, so that's one of the free kicks which is up there, and I think my goal against Middlesbrough is up there as well. But I think that goal that you just spoke about is right up there along with.
Oh, it's a special one, baby. It's special.
Yeah, it was.
There's a hit, that one, sweet. So the 06-07 season, I was just talking about playing in Europe there. Sam Allardyce left at the end of that season, didn't he? I mean, was that a tough one to take for you players? Were you surprised when it happened?
Yeah, I was to be honest. Because what Sam has done with us and what Sam has achieved, not only with us, but as a manager, and his personality and where we're coming from, you know what I mean? He took us from one level on to the next, and the amount of time that we spent to him, we were and we spent together. We were like a family, and we lose one family member. So that was a very devastating moment. And to see Sam went in that manner, it wasn't a good feeling for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a tough one to take for you and the players. But he was succeeded by briefly Sammy Lee and then Gary Megson. How did you find working under them two?
Well, there was different, but it's coaches that bring their quality to the game also. And we as professionals, what we have to do is just be professional. We are there to play football. We are there to play football. You know what I mean? And whenever the managers are ready for us, they are ready for us. But there were different characters from Sam Allardyce. But they did bring their pieces to the table as well.
Yeah, could you sense a big change in the way things happened behind the scenes once Sam had gone? Did the managers that followed him sort of take completely different approaches to Sam?
I wouldn't say different approaches, but things was not the same anymore. You know what I mean? So we start losing players. You know what I mean? Players who was there when Sam Allardyce was there. You know what I mean? Players wasn't as enthused as how they used to be when Sam Allardyce was there, and Sam know so well. As I mentioned before, we were like a family. So losing Sam and not having him around and giving us that family feeling, that a father figure type of feeling that we have used for many years. It shouldn't be been this way, because we are professional, but then we start losing players and then things started to change.
Yeah, before we sort of move on to your latter years of your time at Bolton, obviously looking at the years where we were so successful, what's your favourite game that you played in for Bolton? If you could pick one game, I mean, it's probably hard because you were with the club for 14 years, maybe at the end of the day. But if you could pick one game, perhaps that stands out.
One game that you'd play again.
Yeah, exactly.
One game that I could play again. I would love to play so much games again, but I'm just gonna. I think the Arsenal game at home. Arsenal game at home in the cup.
Mm-hmm.
In the cup, when we had a cup run, I think we won 1-0 that game. And Stelia scored that wonderful header.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That game,
very well.
I think I played really well that game, and I enjoyed that game. And that would be one of my memories. A game that I would love to play in again. And the atmosphere was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, did you have a good relationship with the fans, baby? Because you were at the club for a long, long time.
Yeah, I did have a good relationship with the fans, but I'm well reserved and very quiet. But I did have a good relationship with the fans. There was no one that I didn't really get on with. I mean, that's just me. That's just my personality. You know what I mean? That's my personality since I've been at Bolton.
We've talked about managers, baby. I believe, unless I'm wrong here, I think the last manager that you played under at Bolton was Owen Coyle. What was he like?
Owen Coyle he's different. He's his approach different. He's a good character as well, you know. But every manager have the different style of doing things. And he was also different from the rest. But funny guy who tried to bring fun into it, though. Very good personality, as I mentioned.
Yeah, the 10-11 season. Looking at that season, you didn't play much for Bolton that season, baby, and you were loaned to Preston. How did you find your brief time at Preston? I mean, obviously you spent so much time at Bolton. Was it strange to have to go and play for another club for a brief amount of time?
Yeah, but I did appreciate them, to be honest, because I was just coming back from injury. You know what I mean? And I wanted playing time as well, and the club wanted me to get a little bit of playing time. And I feel that Preston was able to spread their arms and welcome me the way they did. And I was able to go and have that type of experience with them throughout my time of my career. So I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate them for the time spent there.
And then obviously, like I mentioned a couple of times, Bibby, you had 14 years with the club. End of the 11-12 season is when you left Bolton after 14 years. Was it tough to leave? I mean, it's probably tough for players to leave after 2 or 3 years, but 14 is obviously
Yeah.
a big amount of time.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, especially having been able to really give off yourself in the last part of my time there because of being out injured. You know what I mean? Not returning to say my last bye or play my last game and give the fans my real appreciation of them supporting me over the years was really a tough one, and it was a tough one to go in that type of manner.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll talk about what happened after in terms of obviously you've gone into coaching and things like that. But if there's a message that you could give to the fans now that perhaps you've not been able to in the past, I'm not sure. What would you say to them now, the Bolton fans?
Keep believing, man. Keep believing. Keep believing. Yeah, just keep believing.
That's the key, isn't it? Them to keep believing.
No, we don't. But at the end of the day, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? Bam, yeah. they can go changes tomorrow. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you left Bolton, baby, I mean, I read that you had a trial in the MLS to play in the United States. Was that the case? Because obviously after that, I think a couple of years after you left Bolton, you retired. Was there a couple of years trialing and things like that, or what was the case there?
I mean, I went over there, but to be honest with you, the frontier that I was feeling on my body, I think it was just the perfect time for me to give it up. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to leave the game more than let the game leave you, and that you'll be still be in a very stable manner, so you can be with your kids and your family in a very stable way without putting them under a certain type of pressure.
Yeah, baby. What I was saying there is, obviously, you put an end to your playing career, but you were sort of pretty quickly into coaching, weren't you? I mean, in charge of the Jamaican under-20s side. How did that come about, and how was it?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a great experience. I had some great times. I spent some time with some great young players. I've shared some experience with some great young players, along with myself and Altiman Butler, who was one of the players in the national team in that 1998 campaign as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We spent some great time. We tried to bring some of the stuff that we did in '98 into that group. I think that group have learned a lot from us, and there are a few from that group who move on to better and bigger things also. So it was a great experience for me, something that I enjoyed, even though we didn't qualify that year. But it's a moment that I enjoyed, and it's an experience that I always look back and have great memories from.
Yeah, of course, an honour to represent your country in any capacity. The next chapter of your coaching career, Bibby, was you went back to Harbourview to be the head coach. That must have been great for you to go back to where it all began and become the head coach there.
Yes, it was. And even some of these players that we was just talking about, I took them out by Harbourview also, and to be giving some of these young players the opportunity to reach their goals and having this type of experience that we didn't have growing up, you know what I mean? Because when I was growing up, I wish I could have someone who was playing so much years overseas and who have done so much overseas, give me this insight in order how to get overseas, you know what I mean? So just giving back to the community was just great for me, man, and giving back to those youngsters was just great for me.
Is there sort of still young Jamaicans going over to England to play football now? You obviously live in Jamaica. You know the football scene there. Are there still players over there that are looking to make moves to the Football League in England?
Yes, yes, of course. There's, Leon Bailey is there, and you also have young Shamar Nicholson, also who is doing big things over in Belgium. You have a few youngsters who are coming through also, who I think in a couple of years in Europe, outside of England, will gain those experience and garner those experience to be able to represent us here from Jamaica in the Premier League or in the lower tier, maybe the Championship, and work their way up to the Premier League. I think there is talent here, especially in this group that the national team is putting together, and I'm hoping and praying that some of these players will get the opportunity to make this move also.
And am I right in saying that you're now at Portmore United? Is that the case? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm at Portmore United now. It's great for me, as I mentioned before. It's great experience to always give back, and now I'm with a manager who I've looked up to so much over the years, who was also a part of the national 1998 team that helped us to qualify. He was the general manager during that time, and he's a big part of Portmore United. That's Horace Reid, and to be working alongside him is just something that I really feel good about.
So that's the path that you're on now in your career, baby, just to keep developing your CV in terms of the coaching side of the game?
Yeah, definitely. I do dream of coming back to England to finish my badge, and also give my son the opportunity that he wants, because best player out of Jamaica. I don't want to deprive him of that opportunity. So I'm looking forward one day to come back over in England and finish my coaching badge and take it as far as I can. And hopefully one day I'll be able to be in a position to give back to my national team, or to give more to football within my country.
Fantastic. Well, it was great to hear from you, Bibby. Fantastic.
It was fantastic to speak to you, Bibby. A true honour for me.
It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Just quickly show Bibby the picture of the kit that we had as well.
Yeah.
So a bit of a backstory to it, Bibby. We had these custom-made national team kits made with the Bolton logo on them.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
we had a Jamaica one made with your name on the back. I think Luke will just get it up for you now. We'll just be able to show you on screen.
Okay.
And then the back.
Pretty cool. So it's
That's nice. So when am I getting mine? That's nice. I love it. It's nice. Good job, man.
Like we said, Bibby, fantastic to speak to you.
Been fantastic, Bibby, to speak to you. Been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.